Welcome to today's reading from the Krishna book. We are on the chapter Krishna recovers the son of his teacher. Yesterday we were reading how Krishna and Balram have begun their education at the Sandipani Muni's ashram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna and Balram learned the art of cutting valuable stones such as diamonds, and they also learned the art of questioning and answering by immediately composing poetry within the mind. They learned the science of the action and reaction of physical combinations and permutations. They learned the art of psychiatrist who can understand the psychic movements of another person. They learned how to satisfy one's desires. Desires are very difficult to fulfill, but if one desires something which is unreasonable and can never be fulfilled, the desire can be subdued and satisfied. And that is an art. By this art, one can also subdue sex impulses when they are aroused, as they are even in brahmachari life. By this art, one can even make an enemy one's friend or transfer the direct action of a physical element to other things. Lord Krishna and Balram, the reservoir of all knowledge, exhibited their perfect understanding of all the arts and sciences mentioned above. Then they offered to serve their teacher by rewarding him anything he desired. This offering by the student to the teacher or spiritual master is called Guru Dakshina. It is essential that a student satisfy the teacher in return for any learning received, either material or spiritual. When Krishna and Balram offered their service in this way, the teacher, Sandipani Muni, thought it wise to ask them for something extraordinary, something no common student could offer. He therefore consulted with his wife about what to ask from them. He and his wife had already seen the extraordinary potencies of Krishna and Balram and could understand that the two boys were the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They decided to ask for the return of their son who had drowned in the ocean near the shore at Prabhas Kshetra. When Krishna and Balram heard from their teacher about the death of his son, they immediately started for Prabhas Kshetra on the chariot. Reaching the beach, they asked the controlling deity of the ocean to return the son of their teacher. The ocean deity immediately appeared before the Lord and offered him all respectful obeisances with great humility. The Lord said, "Some time back you caused the drowning of the son of our teacher. I order you to return him." The ocean deity replied, "The boy was not actually taken by me but was captured by a demon called Panchajana. This great demon generally remains deep in water in the shape of a conch shell. The son of a teacher might be within the belly of the demon, having been devoured by him." On hearing this, Krishna dove deep into the water and caught hold of the demon Panchajana. He killed him on the spot but could not find the son of his teacher within his belly. Therefore he took the demon's dead body in the shape of a conch shell and returned to his chariot on the beach of Prabhas Kshetra. From there he started for Samyamani, the residence of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, accompanied by his elder brother Balram, who is also known as Halayudh. Krishna arrived there and blew on his conch shell. Hearing the vibration, Yamaraj appeared and received Sri Krishna with all respectful obeisances. Yamaraj could understand who Krishna and Balram were, and therefore he immediately offered his humble service to the Lord. Krishna had appeared on the surface of the earth like an ordinary human being, but actually Krishna and Balram are the super soul living within the heart of every living entity. They are Vishnu himself, but they were playing just like ordinary human boys. When Yamaraj offered his services to the Lord, Sri Krishna asked him to return his teacher's son who had come to him as a result of his work. "Considering my ruling supreme," said Krishna, "you should immediately return the son of my teacher." Yamaraj returned the boy to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna and Balram brought him to his father. The brothers asked if their teacher had anything more to ask from them, but he replied, "My dear sons, you have done enough for me. I am now completely satisfied. What further want can there be for a man who has disciples like you? My dear boys, you may now go home. These glorious acts of yours will always be renowned all over the world. You are above all blessing. Yet it is my duty to bless you. I therefore give you the benediction that whatever you speak will remain eternally fresh as the instructions of the Vedas. Your teachings will be honored not only within this universe or in this millennium, but in all places and ages, and will remain increasingly new and important." Due to this benediction from his teacher, the Lord Krishna's Bhagavad Gita is ever increasingly fresh and renowned not only within this universe, but in other planets and other universes also. Being ordered by their teacher, Krishna and Balram immediately returned home on their chariot. They traveled at great speed like the wind and made sounds like the crashing of clouds. All the residents of Mathura who had not seen Krishna and Balram for a long time were very pleased to see them again. They felt joyful like a person who has regained his lost property. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 45th chapter of Krishna. Krishna recovers the son of his teacher. Chapter 46. Uddhava visits Vrindavan. Nanda Maharaj returned to Vrindavan without Krishna and Balram. He was accompanied only by the cowherd boys and men. It was certainly a very pathetic scene for the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Srimati Radharani, and all the residents of Vrindavan. Many devotees have tried to make adjustments to Krishna's being away from Vrindavan because, according to expert opinion, Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, never goes even a step out of Vrindavan. He always remains there. The explanation of expert devotees is that Krishna was actually not absent from Vrindavan. He came back with Nanda Maharaj as promised. When Krishna was starting for Mathura on the chariot driven by Akrur and the gopis were blocking the way, Krishna assured them that he was coming back just after finishing his business in Mathura. He told them not to be overwhelmed, and in this way he pacified them. But when he failed to come back with Nanda Maharaj, it appeared that he either cheated them or could not keep his promise. Expert devotees, however, have decided that Krishna was neither a cheater nor a breaker of promises. Krishna, in his original identity, returned with Nanda Maharaj and stayed with the gopis and Mother Yashoda in his bhav expansion. Krishna and Balram remained in Mathura, not in their original forms, but in their expansions as Vasudev and Sankarshan. The real Krishna and Balram were in Vrindavan in their bhav manifestation, whereas in Mathura they appeared in the Prabhav and Vaibhav expansions. This is the expert opinion of advanced devotees of Krishna. Externally, however, they were absent from Vrindavan. Therefore, when Nanda Maharaj was preparing to return to Vrindavan, there was some discussion between him and the boys concerning how they could live in separation. The conclusion to separate was reached by the mutual agreement. Vasudeva and Devaki, who happened to be the real parents of Krishna and Balram, wanted to keep them now because of the death of Kamsa. While Kamsa was alive, Krishna and Balram were kept under the protection of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan. Now, naturally, the father and mother of Krishna and Balram wanted them to remain, specifically for the reformatory function of purification, the sacred thread ceremony. They also wanted to give them a proper education, for this is the duty of the father. Another consideration was that all the friends of Kamsa outside Mathura were planning to attack Mathura. For that reason also, Kamsa's presence was required. Krishna did not want Vrindavan disturbed by enemies like Dantavakra and Jarasandh. If Krishna were to go to Vrindavan, these enemies would not only attack Mathura, but would go on to Vrindavan, and the peaceful inhabitants of Vrindavan would be disturbed. Krishna therefore decided to remain in Mathura, and Nanda Maharaj went back to Vrindavan. Although the inhabitants of Vrindavan felt separation from Krishna, the resulting ecstasy or the bhava caused them to perceive that Krishna was always present with them by his Leela or pastimes. Since Krishna had departed from Vrindavan and gone to Mathura, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, especially Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Srimati Radharani, and gopis and the cowherd boys were simply thinking of Krishna at every step. They were thinking, "Hey, Krishna was playing in this way. Hey, Krishna was blowing his flute. Hey, Krishna was joking with us in this way. And Krishna was embracing us like this." This is called Leela Smarana. And it is the process of association of Krishna most recommended by the great devotees. Even Lord Chaitanya, when he was at Puri, enjoyed Leela Smaran association with Krishna. Those in the most exalted position of devotional service and ecstasy can live with Krishna always by remembering his pastimes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us a transcendental literature entitled Krishna Bhavanamrita, which is full with Krishna's pastimes. Exalted devotees can remain absorbed in Krishna thought by reading such books. Any book of Krishna Leela, even this book Krishna, or our teachings of Lord Chaitanya is actually solace for devotees feeling separation from Krishna. That Krishna and Balram did not return to Vrindavan can be adjusted as follows. They did not break their promise to return to Vrindavan, nor were they absent, but their presence was necessary in Mathura. In the meantime, Uddhava, the cousin brother of Krishna's, came to see Krishna from Dwarka. He was the son of Vasudev's brother and was almost the same age as Krishna. His bodily features resemble Krishna almost exactly. After Krishna returned from his teacher's home, he was pleased to see Uddhava, who happened to be his dearmost friend. Krishna wanted to send him to Vrindavan with a message to the residents to pacify their deep feelings of separation. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiv bhajamyaham. Krishna is very responsive. He responds in proportion to the devotee's advancement in devotional service. Thus, as the gopis were thinking of Krishna in separation 24 hours a day, so Krishna was also always thinking of the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and other residents of Vrindavan. Although he appeared to be away from them, he could understand how they were transcendently aggrieved, and so he immediately wanted to send Uddhava to give them a message of solace. Uddhava is described as the most exalted personality in the Vrishni dynasty, being almost equal to Krishna. He was a great friend of Krishna's, and being the direct student of Brihaspati, the teacher and priest of the heavenly planets, he was very intelligent and sharp in decision. Intellectually, he was highly qualified. Krishna, being his very loving friend, wanted to send Uddhava to Vrndavan just to study the highly elevated ecstatic devotional service practiced there. Even if one is highly elevated in material education and is even the disciple of Brihaspati, he still has to learn from the gopis and other residents of Vrindavan how to love Krishna to the highest degree. It was Krishna's special favor to Uddhava to send him to Vrindavan with a message for the residents there, which was meant to pacify them. Lord Krishna is also named Hari, which means one who takes away all distress from the surrendered souls. Lord Chaitanya states that there cannot be any time a worship as exalted as that realized by the gopis. Being very anxious about gopis' grief, Krishna talked with Uddhava and politely requested him to go to Vrindavan. Shaking Uddhava's hand with his own hand, he said, "My dear gentle friend Uddhava, please go immediately to Vrindavan and try to pacify my father, my mother, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Devi, and the gopis. They are grief-stricken as if suffering from great ailments. Go and give them a message. I hope their ailments will be partially relieved. The gopis are always absorbed in thoughts of me. They have dedicated their body, desire, life and soul to me. I'm anxious not only for the gopis, but also for anyone who sacrifices society, friendship, love and personal comforts for me. It is my duty to protect such exalted devotees. The gopis are the most dear. They always think of me in such a way that they remain overwhelmed and almost dead in anxiety due to the separation from me. They are keeping alive simply by thinking, and I am returning to them very soon." So Krishna sent Uddhava Maharaj with this message to pacify the gopis, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, because he knew what they were going through while Krishna had come to Mathura. Now Krishna's duties at Mathura were also very important, so he had to stay back to fulfill these duties. So just like in our life that there is always dualities in front of us, Krishna also faced them very graciously. So I'll continue this reading tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Hare Krishna.